So the people who sell annuities and other high commission crap are always trying to scare you out of traditional investing. Like this angry insurance saleswoman who posted a response to one of my videos equating the stock market to a casino and you're going to lose sleep. And if you don't understand the stock market because it's so complicated, then you need to dump your money into this annuity that she's trying to sell you so that she can earn her fat commission. And like all insurance people, she's using the straw man argument of looking at 100% stocks during the 2000s, no bonds. When you diversify it into bonds, investing is not a casino and you don't lose sleep. It's not complicated because you buy 2 index funds. Simple. If you want consistent returns, then you invest heavy on the bond side. Anyone who compares an annuity to 100% stocks is a deceptive liar. Another scare tactic that annuity salespeople use is to suggest that the 4% rule might fail, while it's at the same time implying that even if the 4% rule technically fails, an annuity is going to do better. And they never elaborate with any data and spreadsheets to back up this assertion because they can't. They just imply, assume, and suggest by using anecdotes and statements of opinion. And I actually found an article on an annuity marketing website called annuity123.com. And by the way, any website that has the word annuity in the domain name, they're trying to sell annuities. Do not go to these websites for investing advice or investing education. Anyway, this advertisement article says, even many well-diversified portfolios took a huge hit in 2008. Adhering to the 4% rule, a retiree would have to do one of 2 things: reduce the income received or maintain the income and risk the plan collapsing. And this is just plain nonsense. The author is full of shit. First of all, he's data mining. He deceptively cherry-picked the worst possible starting point in order to make the 4% rule look as bad as possible right after the 2008 market crash. He's assuming that starting tomorrow things are going to get nasty, which right there is a deception. And actually went ahead and back-tested the statement of his, the 4% rule failed so-called well-diversified portfolios. Now, by well-diversified, if he means the lowest volatility according to Ibbotson, 28% stocks and 72% bonds, nope, 4% worked just fine. 100,000 grew to 115,465 when taking out 4% per year pegged to inflation. Okay, well, what about 50-50? Nope, 100K grew to over 122K. And heck, just for kicks, how did a completely undiversified 100% stocks do? That grew to almost 115,000. So what the hell is this annuity salesman talking about? What if we took out 5% per year pegged to inflation? With 2872, 100,000 grew to 102,000, nearly 103,000. 50-50 grew to almost 109,000. Okay, how about 100% stocks? That grew to 98,000. Remember, this is starting on January 1st, 2008, the year when stocks crashed 37.5%. Okay, so what if we cherry pick another terrible starting point, 2000 onward. Again, taking out 4% per year pegged to inflation, $100,000 invested 2872, 100,000 grew to 125,000. Or with 50-50, it grew to 109,500. Now, what if you did the wrong thing? You were swinging for the fences. You put 100% in stocks in retirement. In this case, you did find yourself in trouble. By the end of 2016, your $100,000 had dropped down to $38,000. But again, this is a straw man argument. You don't compare 100% stocks to a lowly annuity. If you're resigned to earning the lowest risk and the lowest returns, you'd go about 2872. Now, just for kicks, what happened if you took out 5%? Well, with 2872, your $100,000 dropped to 91,000. You're actually not in that bad a shape now, 17 years into retirement. If you retired at age 65, you're now 82 years old with $91,000 going forward to work for you. And that's if you had the worst timing. You retired at the end of 1999, right before the Great Recession. But what if we're being more realistic about things? Instead of conveniently assuming that stocks are going to crash tomorrow or this year, let's say you retired 2 years earlier at the end of 1997, and with 2872, your $100,000 grew to $152,000. What about with 50/50? It grew to $163,500. How about if we took out 5% every year instead of 4%? Well, with 2872 after 19 years, we had $113,000 going to work. How about 50/50? Almost $121,000. Heck, with 50% stocks and 50% bonds, you could have safely taken out about 5.2% per year pegged to inflation. Again, this is starting retirement 2 years before some of the nastiest times in the history of the financial markets, the Great Recession. But by the way, the guy who wrote this article says he's been in the financial services industry for 17 years. So how is it that I know more about this stuff than he does? I've been working in the financial services industry for 0 years, and I have no certifications, and I'm nowhere to be found on any Barron's list of top advisors. I haven't been featured in Forbes or MarketWatch. I'm just an average Joe investor, yet I know more about investing than all of these annuity sales clowns put together. Anyway, so when these annuity sales clowns start telling you that the 4% rule doesn't work anymore, tell them to take a long walk off a short pier. They're, number one, assuming that you're investing 100% in stocks, which is absurd. Number two, they're assuming that we're headed into yet another Great Recession again. And number three, they're assuming that it's going to happen immediately. And they're implying that annuities do better. They don't. Just because the 4% spending rule may technically start to fail and you thus have to reduce spending doesn't mean that an annuity will do any better. Income annuities, SPIAs, index annuities, etc., they all tease you with an initial higher rate of income that gradually and eventually becomes inadequate. Less and eventually much less than what a traditional bond stock portfolio produces. And if you don't believe it, then you'd better watch this video to understand why. Don't get screwed over by these annuity products. There's a reason why no robo-advisor recommends annuities for any portion of your retirement portfolio.